All right, I'm going to redo this number 40 here because on the last video I think it kind of got cut off. So when we're looking for the tangent of 13 pi over 4, I realize that it's my pi over 4 family that I want the tangent of. So I go up here to my unit circle, and my pi over 4 family, the tangent is 1. So I know that the number part is 1. Now I need to figure out where 13 pi over 4 is. So I think to myself, how many times does 4 go into 13? It goes in 3 times with a remainder of 1 left over. So 13 divided by 4 is 3 and 1/4. So I come up here to my unit circle. 3 pi would be here, and then 1/4 of a pi would be here. So I'm going to be in the third quadrant where my tangent is positive. So this is positive 1. All right, let's go ahead and look at cosine of 11 pi over 3. Again, I'm in my pi over 3 family. Cosine is x. So I come up to my unit circle. Pi over 3 family. Cosine is 1/2. So I know that the number part is 1/2. Now I've got to figure out if it's positive or negative. 3 goes into 11 3 times, with 2/3 as my remainder, 3 and 2/3. So, to my unit circle, 3 is here, 2/3, 1/3 would be here, so 2/3 is in this quadrant. So I'm going to be in this quadrant here where cosine is positive, so it is positive 1/2. Let's try another one. How about negative 7 pi over 6. Let's do number 32. Sine of my pi over 6 family. So I go up to my unit circle. Sine is the y coordinate in the pi over 6 family, so it's 1/2. And I've got to figure out where negative 7 pi over 6 is. I know that 7 pi over 6 is right here, which means negative 7 pi over 6. Remember, theta and opposite of theta are above and below, so it's going to be up here in this quadrant. And what am I looking at? Sine is the y coordinate right here, is positive, so that is number 32 is a positive 1/2. Let's do one more. Let's do number 24. Sine of 5 pi over 3. Okay, so sine of my pi over 3 family. Pi over 3 family, sine is square root of 3 over 2. Now I have to figure out where 5 pi over 3 is. Well, I know that this is pi over 3, 2 pi over 3. So across from it would be 5 pi over 3. So I'm going to be in this fourth quadrant where sine, which is my y coordinate, is negative. So number 24 is negative square root of 3 over 2. So that's essentially how you do these. Let's go ahead and do one more. How about 19, sine of negative 2 pi over 3. Sine, y coordinate of my pi over 3 family. Y coordinate of my pi over 3 family, still looking at square root of 3 over 2. And I know that 2 pi over 3 is here, which means negative 2 pi over 3 would be down here, and sine is negative. So again, you're always determining the number by the family, determining the sine by the quadrant. Then you're going to go on and you're going to practice all of these. This is just lots and lots of practice. For 1 through 10, you're just practicing knowing the degrees and the radians. Again, you can look at your unit circle, but if you could do these conversions, remembering that going from radians to degrees, we multiply by 180 over pi, and then we simplify. And when we're going from degrees to radians, we multiply by pi over 180. So you're either going to be multiplying by 180 over pi or pi over 180. And then when you get down here to 11 through 20, you're doing the same thing we did on the previous page. Okay? And then this is just another, on the back of this is just another opportunity for you to practice doing the same thing. Lots and lots of practicing. Okay? And then we have the rest of our quiz review. So we have the exact values part of our quiz review. Is very long because it's really important for us to know our unit circle really well. And now we have these questions. It says a sound wave has an equation, y equals 38 cosine of 14 pi t. Write the equation of a sound wave with twice the frequency. So remember, frequency is related to period. And so twice the frequency means that this right here, which is related to the x, is going to double. And half the intensity, this right here, is related to the intensity. I'm going to highlight these so you can kind of see the difference in that. So this right here has to do with frequency. And this right here has to do with intensity. Now you might be thinking, well, do I just double this? Because remember, x lies in the equation. It does. However, frequency is the reciprocal of the period. And then if we do the reciprocal of the reciprocal, then we're just actually going to double this. So this is going to be y equals 28 pi t. And half the intensity, half of 38, is 19. All right, let's do another practice. A sound wave has an equation as written. Write the equation of a sound wave with twice the frequency. So this right here is going to double and become 34, and half the intensity. Half of 27 is 13.5. Cosine of 34 pi t. Okay? All right, number 3. We're given an equation and we're asked to find the scale change. Right, in the equation, x is divided by 3, which means in the scale change, x is being multiplied by 3, and the y is being multiplied by -2. What is the amplitude? Remember, this number here tells us the amplitude, but it's the absolute value of the y scale change. You might want to write that down as a reminder, because amplitude tells us how high and low it goes, and a distance is always positive, so the amplitude is 2. The period is always the x scale change times, and for cosine, a normal period is 2 pi. So this is going to be 3 times 2 pi, which is 6 pi. Let's circle my final answers. Okay. What is the frequency? Remember, frequency is always 1 divided by the period. So that would be 1 divided by 6 pi. All right, let's look at number 4. What is the scale change? Okay. 3 times x in the equation, which means it's x divided by 3 in the scale change, because x lies in the equation, and 1/4 y, or y divided by 4. If I want to, I can write this as 1/3 x. The amplitude is the absolute value of the y scale change, so it's simply 1/4. The period is the x scale change times 2 pi. The x scale change is, that would be 1/3 times 2 pi. So we get 2 pi over 3. Again, I'll circle my answers. And what is the frequency? It's the reciprocal of the period, so it's going to be 3 divided by 2 pi. Okay. Let's go through my different steps for writing an equation. The first thing I have to determine is if it's a sine or cosine curve. Because it starts at the origin, it's a sine curve, but it goes down rather than up first. So this is a negative sine equation. the next thing I do is I look at my amplitude, and my amplitude is 2, which makes my B value, I'm sorry, my A value, amplitude A value, is actually going to be -2 because it's a negative sign. And then I have to think about my period. Let's see, my period is pi over 5. So to find that B value, remember 2 pi times the B value is pi over 5. So to solve for B, I'm going to multiply both sides by 1 over 2 pi. And the pi's cancel and I get 1/10. Right, so my scale change is 1/10 x and -2y. So my equation is y equals -2 sine. Now since it's 1/10 x in the equation, it's going to be 10x. All right. Number 6, write an equation for this function. Once again, I have a sine, and I look at my amplitude, and it is 3, so my A value is +3. Then I look at my period. My period is 2 pi, which means there was no scale change, so B is simply 1. And I can now write that my scale change is just simply x and 3y. So I get y equals 3 times the sine of x. A little more practice with exact value. What's the exact value of tangent of 64 pi? I know on my unit circle that all my even multiples of pi, 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, etc., are on this side of the unit circle, and my odd multiples, 1 pi, 3 pi, 5 pi, 7 pi, are on this side of the unit circle. So I know that 64 pi is going to be right here, where my ordered pair is 1, 0, and my tangent, therefore, at that point is 0. So that's my answer, 0. What is the exact value of 11 pi over 6? I know that 11 pi over 6 is part of my pi over 6 family. And my pi over 6 family is square root of 3 over 2, 1/2, square root of 3 over 3. And the sine is my y value. And 11 pi over 6, this is 1 pi over 6 and 5 pi over 6. So here would be my 11 pi over 6. And sine is negative there. All right, one last one here. I didn't say what is the exact value of. I didn't tell you which one to do. Let's make this cosine. We haven't done a cosine one yet. Let's make that cosine. Cosine of -7 pi over 4. All right, I've got to think about my pi over 4 family is here. Square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2, and 1. Cosine is obviously square root of 2 over 2. Need to figure out where -7 pi over 4 is. I know this is 1/4 pi, this is 3/4 pi, which makes this 7/4 pi. Since this is 7/4 pi, opposite of 7/4 pi would be above. Remember, opposite angles are above and below, so we're going to be right here where it is positive.